Hi guys, welcome. Today is the 3rd of February, 2021. And I am going to be honest, I don't really know what I'm here to say yet. I only know that I'm supposed to say something, so let's see what it is, shall we? So as I'm shuffling, the moon has moved into Scorpio. She's squaring Venus, who's moved into Aquarius, directly at their 2 degrees, right? The moon will continue her journey and square Saturn, Jupiter, the sun. Also, she will come through her opposition to Uranus, and then eventually in opposition to Mars, but most directly in the next brief period of time, she'll move through those big signs in Aquarius, the moon. She'll square them. And so as Venus moves through behind Saturn and Jupiter and amplifies, right, softens kind of that social planet edge that sometimes Saturn and Jupiter can have, especially in Aquarius, right? Venus allows us to broaden our definitions, right? Those big planets, there are social planets, but Venus is a personal planet, right? She is how we experience that energy on a personal level, right? If Saturn and Jupiter create the stage for our collective experience, which is very important as we talk about Aquarius, Venus allows us to bring that home into our own lives, right? Why is it important for us to understand this Aquarian energy? Well, because we are what creates the collective, right? It's an individual experience of the collective, right? We don't have a feeling as the collective, even though we have that zeitgeist concept and awareness, right? We know, we understand the energy of the times. We still experience it only in our own receiver. Right? We can view it in a wider lens, but we still only experience it as ourselves. Anything is only as acute as we allow it to be within our own lives. And so Venus is required here, right, to come in behind these 2 big planets in order that we might really understand it. And what does Venus allow us to do, right? Venus gives us our sensory experience in that Taurus kind of way, right? What do we see? What do we feel? What do we taste? What do we hear? What do we smell? And how do we create our experience of the collective? I think it's very important to note here that, you know, Aquarius's complementary energy on the other side of the wheel is Leo. And Leo is the sign of the individual, right? And so I think I've said it before, Aquarius is only as collective as the individual's experience of it is, right? And so the ideal, right? The ideal is to have that widened individual experience so that we can be that strongest link within the collective, right? Because we can only experience jointly what we have experienced individually, right? You can only meet someone as fully as they have met themselves. And so, I mean, the thing is, that's why we do the work, right? That's why we are each required to do our work, so that we can add significance, not just within our own experience, but within the collective. And so, as the moon, yes, as the moon makes this arc, right, and allows us to really deeply, personally experience what's happening, as I said in the weekly What's Up, this is our call to really dig in to any place that we are in resistance to our own experience, to our own fulfilled experience, right? And all those ways that we are in our own way, we have to make a choice. Get out of the way, or find out why, do the work, and create something new. As Jupiter and Saturn are in this air cycle, especially in this Aquarius energy, we get an option to create something new. So let's lead with the King of Wands and the High Priestess, right? The King of Wands is that heart's desire, right? Fully alive, fully actively engaged in the action of living. The High Priestess is about living from one's intuition, right? So there's a little bit of, you get to choose, right? There's either a balance or an imbalance, depending on how you yourself are experiencing it. Again, whether or not you are in that detachment, right, which is possible, or whether you're fully embodied and embracing that energy. Well, the High Priestess is about intuition and feeling into that experience, right? She has that higher perspective. She has the capability, and not just the capability, but the wisdom of the long view, right? She has access to the whole timeline, where the King has access to a lot of it. The High Priestess has access to the long game, right? So if you're trusting your long game, then all of those places where you are inspired, you understand whether or not you're going to dig in, whether or not you're going to release it. This is a choice, right? The King of Wands understands that everything that inspires you, everything that motivates you, everything that turns you on does not bear exploration, and you have to know the difference. The High Priestess knows the difference, and she knows it because she's in alignment, right? Again, we know this. We got the High Priestess again, and we have the Seven of Swords, right? The Seven of Swords is about, it's kind of about self-conflict, all right? So let's examine it, right? So we have 7 swords here. Swords are about ideas, right? It's about grasping your thoughts. And so the 5 of Swords by itself is a card of conflict. The 2 of Swords is a card of needing to make a decision, right? Being at a standstill. And so looking at the 7, one interpretation is that we have this conflict that can be perhaps solved if we make a decision. How do we make that decision? Through our intuition, right? Again, we know. We don't have to keep ourselves at a standstill. Our ideas keep us at a standstill with our own intuition. The 4 Pentacles and the Empress. The 4 Pentacles is a beautiful energy. It can be interpreted again in a number of ways, right? So the 4 Pentacles can be about this hoarding energy, right? It can be about fear and scarcity, right? Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my things, so I'm going to hold on to it super tightly. It can also be about knowing what is of value and choosing to dig in to those things that are of value. Now, I have said many times that we are in a cycle of reevaluating what is of value to us, right? So we get to choose whether our values are inspired, passionate, and motivated, or whether they're fear, right? Whether there are ideas, right? We can value an idea, absolutely. But if our ideas are keeping us in conflict, then we have to know when to let go. We have to know what is of our highest good. the Empress is about receptivity, right? She is the coalescence of all queen energy, in so much as she has all of the elements within her, and she can embody each of those as she chooses. So she is a perfect match for the King of Wands. She's a perfect match for any of the kings, because she is the embodiment of all, right? Earth, air, fire, and water. She is emotional balance. She is the balance of ideas, not the imbalance of ideas. She is the balance of emotional intensity and emotional expression. She's also the balance of these resources, right? And as such, she understands what is of value. And the key to the Empress is that she is this gloriously fertile playing field, right? Anything that you plant within that Empress energy is going to bloom. So there's no need to hold on to anything, right? Because whatever you plant will bloom. This is the secret that the High Priestess knows, right? This is what this Two of Swords fears, right? I'm just not sure. I'm conflicted about whether I believe that. Well, I'm just saying. Then we have two sixes, Cups and Pentacles. So here the Six of Pentacles is about that balancing of the resources, right? I have so much. I have so much that I can give away comfortably because I know that my abundance comes from within, not from without, right? This is Six of Cups is that nostalgic, full energy, right? Unstruck, right? It's that real anahata energy, right? The heart chakra. Ultimately, the name anahata means unstruck. It means to love like you've never been hurt, right? And that's what, in my estimation, is represented in the Six of Cups, right? It's that beautiful place where you love so freely and so fully that you're never afraid to give it away because you know you are your source, right? Oh, mercy. We have the Eight of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. Again, the Eight of Cups is that it can be an energy of walking away, right? But it can also be an energy of questing, right? I know what it is I'm looking for. I know I've made my decision from my intuition. No matter where I must go, I know I have it. I don't need to hoard. I can be in my abundance. All my cups are full, right? All my cups are full. And I can travel fearlessly on this path because I know that this energy is what's carrying me, right? In its fullness. In its fullness. We also have the Page of Cups and the Nine of Swords. Again, Page of Cups is about love coming in. It's about that emotional abundance, right? It's about this energy being welcomed, being offered, right? Pages are offered, offerings, right? They're ways in which you can experience the fullness. This particular page is about how can I experience the fullness of my emotions? What will bring me the fullness of my heart? We've got the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is anxiety. It's fear. It's the stuff that keeps you up in the middle of the night, that wakes you up in the middle of the night because you're in conflict. You know why? Because you're not listening to your intuition. It's about really thinking about, am I in scarcity? Am I? Or am I in abundance? Well, guess what? I really am in abundance. I might have to travel my soul to find that truth, But the fact is, we know we're always in abundance. The only thing that keeps us from our abundance is ourselves, right? Is this inner conflict. It's about thinking instead of feeling. I mean, consider, right? We have our thoughts and then we have our experience. What we think so often gets in the way of our experience of life. And as Venus moves through these big planets in Aquarius, as the moon moves through these big planets in Aquarius, right? This is our experience, our emotional experience, personal planets, right? How do we as individuals feel these shifts? Well, how do we create them? With our feelings, right? Sometimes we think ourselves crazy. We think ourselves into conflict. We think ourselves into resistance. Our feelings are never in resistance. Our heart always knows, right? Our heart is intimately familiar with our heart's desire. Think about that. Our hearts are intimately familiar with our heart's desires. It's just our beliefs that get in the way. Just our beliefs. Mercury's in retrograde, y'all. This is okay. This is a big, okay. This is a big old, oh, look at that. This is a big week to get right with how you break your own heart. Number 9. This is a card of closing out cycles, of releasing 2 9s, 9 and 9. This is about releasing the ways you are keeping yourself stuck, the ways you are not feeling your feelings, the way you are thinking your feelings. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not enough, honestly, to think your feelings. You can't do it. You can't be in experience of your feelings if you're thinking them. It doesn't work that way. You have to dive in. Moon in Scorpio. You have to dive in. Why, thank you. See, that's funny. Know what you know. Well, okay, so let's explore know what you know, right? First, let's read about broken hearts. This card shows a broken heart, open, revealing darkness, emptiness, and a grief-filled tear. The hurt may be from long ago, or may be from the pain of a more recent event. Either way, a deep healing is called for now. Vent your feelings and release the person or situation involved. Affirm that you are reclaiming your power and peace of mind. Open your heart to the light of divine love and healing, and have compassion for yourself through this process. Make self-care a priority. As you let go of old experiences, you can open your heart to the true and abiding love that you so rightly deserve. So the key here is, again, what is a broken heart? Well, it's unmet expectations. What are expectations? Thoughts, right? So, you know, there's a little concept that we break our own hearts, right? Other people don't break our hearts. We break our own hearts. And I believe that that's true. People break our hearts by not meeting our expectations. But again, our expectations, our thoughts, right? What do we know? Know what you know. And what you know best is how you feel, right? Our thoughts get in our way of our intuition, right? This is absolute conflict. What you know in your heart is what you know, not what you know in your head. What you know in your head is what you think. What you know in your heart is what you know. So, if this week you have been breaking your own heart with your own thoughts, is it ironic to say you might want to rethink that? Perhaps it is. But here's what I do know. If you're holding on to these thoughts, then you're making a choice to keep yourself miserable, right? If you make that choice to hold on to these thoughts, you're keeping yourself miserable, which is a choice. You can make that choice if you'd like, but it seems like you're being asked to release them. Release your limiting thoughts. Feels like a big theme right now. As Venus begins to move through Aquarius, she gets to lead the way, right? I said in the weekly What's Up, Venus gets to take each of these planets by the hand and say, let me show you. Let me show you, right? That you don't have to break your own heart. You can, but you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. So, so as Venus moves through for the rest of this week, Saturn sextiles Chiron, comes into square with Uranus, right? On Saturday, Venus squares Uranus. So get right with all those thoughts you don't need. Process them. Feel your feelings about them and then let them go. And then don't be afraid to unbreak your own heart by changing your ideas. See what happens. If you've tried it one way for so long and it's not working, try it a different way. Shake it up. See what happens. Know what you know. Feel what you feel. Know the difference. Venus knows the difference. The moon knows the difference. Do you? All right, guys. Blessings. I'll talk to you soon.